Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
How's your day going?
Going good. Thank you again.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Really, guys?
What? Jackson's always has a game right.
Let's go!
It's the all-wheel drive event at Lithia Ford of Boise. From hunting trips to ski trips to trips to Grandma's house. Nobody does AWD like LFB, Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
Welcome to the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show from Bronco Nation News. Game time is approaching, and we're getting you ready with the latest pregame news, interviews, analysis, and more from BNN. BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. Have a pregame score prediction or comment? Let us know in the ICCU YouTube chat or leave us a message on the Signature Roofing voice box at speakpipe.com/BNN. The BNN pregame show is presented by Lithia Ford of Boise and our major sponsors Jackson's, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, rowpaint.com, and the Blue and Orange store. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're proud to stand with Boise State athletics. Through our NIL marketing partnerships, we're investing in the future of student athletes. Lithia Ford of Boise, here to get you there, wherever that may be. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Broadcasting from the Sun Cruiser Studios, here's BJ Rains with the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show on Bronco Nation News.
Well, good evening and welcome to San Diego, California, Viejas Arena, the site Steve Fisher Court, where tonight one of the biggest games in the Mountain West Conference in the early going here as the visiting Boise State Broncos take on the San Diego State Aztecs. Both teams on the floor warming up. And we got our man Abe Jackson here to join us as we get you set for tip-off here in about an hour here in San Diego. Abe, I know every game, has that feel to it, and every game you're excited to be here and broadcast it and call it, and we're getting paid for a living to do this. But games like this, you arrive at the arena with a little extra pep in your step.
Yeah, there's a couple in conference, about 3 places I think that I circled that it's like this. This will be some of the best games I've seen have happened in environments like this. The Nick Duncan game where he was knocking down threes and San Diego State missed like 4 out of 10 free throws to close out a game, and we ended up winning when Max Rice hit an almost half-court shot to keep the game alive, and then they ended up winning that game. So there have been some big-time performances in this arena. 4 wins for the Broncos overall in this building since they've entered the Mountain West. So it should be good. And the students aren't here, but I think they're still going to be, a packed house.
No doubt. You see a live look here. Boise State at the far end of the court going with the black uniforms here for this one today. A unique vantage spot, Abe, for you and I. We're raised in the second row. I mean, I'm literally right behind the bench here. You guys are right behind the TV broadcast there, and very thin tables as well. So it's a unique setup here for the media.
Every place has their own little setup and how they do things. Most places you're right down on the floor. We're a few feet off the floor and elevated a little bit. At UNLV, we're across the court and about 25 rows up, right in the middle of the stand. So each place sets us in a little different spot, and I don't mind it here. There's a good vantage point.
Not at all. Hey, Boise State 7-3 in their last 10 games against San Diego State. But this is another typical, I don't want to bring up that 42-37 game from a couple years ago, but I mean, both these teams are very well, play well defensively. Boise State certainly at times has struggled offensively. I'm not saying it's going to be like that, but you would think in a game like this, points may be at a premium.
I think so, but you're going to have to score because San Diego State's averaging 82 points a game. It's the most points that they have averaged at this point in the season in a couple decades. And so this is a different-looking San Diego State team. 82 points, and they're giving up 72. Usually they're scoring about 69 or 70 and giving up about 59 or 60. So this is a San Diego State team that can really shoot the ball. So if the Boise State Broncos come out and start hucking up shots like they were against New Mexico and going 2 for the world from 3 in the first half, you're not going to be able to hang around with a team like San Diego State. You have to knock down shots.
In this atmosphere in particular, you cannot fall behind early.
No, we've seen the Broncos get blown out of this building. The one that comes to mind is when Marcus Shaver was hurt a few years ago.
Najee Smith played but wasn't 100%.
It just couldn't. I mean, it was just
Tyson
brutal.
Degenhart got like his 3rd foul in the first half.
You can feel the crowd just coming down on top of you. So shots need to start falling.
That's where Leon always has used the word blitzkrieg. He says they've gotten blitzkrieg here, and you hope we're not hearing him say that in the post game. But it's just a unique venue. And I was looking at some of the stats here. By far the best home court winning percentage in the league, Abe. But you and Bob were saying 4 wins for Boise State here, the most of any team.
Yeah, since Boise State's been in the Mountain West, Boise State with 4 wins here, the most of any other team. There's a handful that have 3 and 2. But yeah, 4 wins for the Broncos in this building. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it is the most out of any other team in the Mountain West since the Broncos have been in the league.
He's Abe Jackson. You're going to hear him and Bob Beeler in about 21 minutes over on 670 KBOI. The Bronco Radio Network and Learfield, all their affiliates around the country. So get ready for that coming up at in about 20 minutes over at 7:30 back in Boise. And Abe, this team is an interesting team. We're starting to get more production from the bench. We're seeing the bench actually outscored the starters in that game. Spencer Aarons came on and was impressive. Nato, we talked about him in the post-game show, but in a game like this, having multiple bodies, and especially against a San Diego State team who plays 11 guys all like in that 15 to 25 minute a game range, they're going to be rotating guys in. Depth could be big in a game like this.
Well, and you're going to need a lot of ball handlers because if anything that San Diego State does, even if they're not as good defensively as they've been in some other years, it's on-ball pressure. I mean, it ate up Jace Whiting when
I love Jace, but he couldn't even get the ball across half court.
Exactly. And so you're going to have ball handlers. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see Nato and Andrews out there a couple times together just to handle some of the pressure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What else have you liked about this Boise State team? 9-4, obviously had that clunker against Nevada, but came back and got a nice home win. I said on postgame, I know it was a little early to call it a must-win game, but you didn't want to come in here being 0-2 in conference. So that winning that New Mexico game, I thought was big ahead of this one.
It was really big, and I think you need it too because after seeing New Mexico, like seeing them before not playing us and their stats, I thought, okay, this is a decent New Mexico team. They are I don't think they're very good. So I think having to get.
If anybody needs a seat, it's Mark Ziegler. We got to make sure we got room for Mark here. But
all right, well, I don't think New Mexico is really going to be that good come the end of the season. So getting that win was big, especially because it's such a rough patch for Boise State. I mean, at Nevada, New Mexico at home, at San Diego State, Grand Canyon, who was picked 4th in the league next week, and then at Utah State. So, I mean, you are going your next 2 out of Utah State at home. So it's a tough stretch. So that New Mexico game was big.
Boise State's offense right now, 106th in the country at KenPom. We've talked about the three-point shooting at times being a struggle. This year they're effective. I know you love the analytics and things. Their effective field goal percentage, 240th in the country in terms of some of their metrics. The three-point percentage has not been great. You mentioned how they went 6 of 30 in the last game, went 2 of 17 in the first half. You go 2 of 17 in the first half tonight, you may be down 20 at halftime.
Down double digits.
Are we at the point in the season where this is just who they are? They're not a very good offensive team, or are we going to see – can we still see some major improvements on the offensive side? Because the defense and the rebounding is certainly there, but they need the offense to go in here. They're going to have to knock down some outside shots tonight.
Yeah, I don't think that this is going to be one of the best offensive teams that Coach Rice has had, but when you're not a great offensive team, you have to be a little more choosy about the shots that you take and who take your shots. There's no way that Andrew Meadows should be 4th on the team in attempts from the floor, and it's not really even close. So he has by far your best shooting percentage from the floor and from 3, and he is 4th or 5th in shots attempted. And so I'm not saying they need to go out get him 20 shots, but he had 4 shots against New Mexico, and he's still your second leading scorer on the team behind Drew Fielder. So when you're not a great offensive team like this Bronco team is kind of showing that the numbers say they're not great. They're not awful, but they're not great. You need to be even more particular about who's getting shots and where you're getting them on the court, because a lot of them just aren't going down. We've seen them struggle from 3 especially.
This is Lithia Florida Boise pregame show live here at Viejas Arena, getting you set for Boise State, San Diego State. He's Abe Jackson. My name's BJ Rains. And again, you'll hear Abe coming up with Bob Beeler in about 17 minutes over on the Bronco Radio Network in Learfield. And what do you make of the point guard play to this point? Obviously, Dylan Andrews, the high-prized addition coming over from UCLA, went in the portal and spent some money and got him, and he's been a little inconsistent at times this year. I said on the postgame show, I still think he's going to be a big key to this season. You can't give up on him. You got to get him going. But with that said, I really like what I'm seeing from AG Nato.
I do too. Yeah, I like what I'm seeing from AG Nato as well. And the first thing I like about Nato is that he's kind of a pass first type of guy and defense leading the way. We saw it the second game of the season against Utah Valley after that loss to Hawaii Pacific. He set the tone with his defense against those guards from Utah Valley, and you could really feel it just kind of filter down to the other guys what he was doing defensively. So having him come off the bench, I think is big for the Broncos, because you can see he's always looked like a confident player, but now he's getting much more comfortable playing at this level. So I could see Nato's minutes going up as the conference season progresses.
What do you make of San Diego State? The individual names on paper are scary. Magoon, Gloth, and Bird, and some of these guys, but that they've played a really hard schedule to this point. They have played number 1 and number 2 teams in America. They had the home Troy loss, and so in some people's eyes, this isn't a vintage San Diego State team yet. But I've been saying all week, you're going to look up at the end of the season, I still think they're going to be right there near the top of the conference. Certainly at home, they're never an easy out like we've talked about. But what do you make of the Aztecs here?
Well, it's an Aztec team that has a lot of guys back. Last week against New Mexico, not a single person in the program back, from coaches to players. And now you look at a San Diego State team who I believe has the most players back of any team in the conference. And it's guys who've been in the program. So that's what's kind of scary about San Diego State, is that it's guys who've been in the league. They aren't new to the league. They know what the Mountain West is about. They're not, a transfer that took a giant bump up from playing
even some of their transfers are from the Mountain West.
Or from the Mountain West, exactly. So they know what it's like. They've been in the league, so they know the system that they're playing and that they've all bought in. And it's just names that you recognize with Bird and Gloth and Farrell Compton and DeGorville and BJ Davis. And all these guys who Boise State has seen before. So I think you're right. I think at the end of the year, San Diego State's definitely going to be one of the top 4 that gets a bye into the Mountain West tournament. And especially here at home, they're very tough to beat.
What do you make just of their tradition, too? Brian Dutcher and the consistency they've had, and it seems like every year Boise State, we're talking about Boise State defense and rebounding, but it seems like San Diego State every year they've got a ton of athletes and a ton of, NBA prospects on their roster, and And there's just never, even in a quote-unquote down year, San Diego State's getting to the tournament and doing some damage.
Yeah, they just get the players that fit their system, and they do such a good job of getting players that fit their system, which is defensive and rebounding, but also like this year, letting them score a little bit, taking the reins off offensively, because I think they see who they have, and they say, you know what, we're going to be good at defense, but let's let them run a little bit. Let's score a little bit more. Let's take some more shots than we usually did in the past in running that shot clock down. So this is a good San Diego State team for sure.
And you talked about the schedule coming up for Boise State. I don't know if getting this out of the way is the right word, but playing this game here at Viejas so early in the conference season, especially if you're able to get a win, would be massive. But they don't play again for over 2 months. The game's in Boise on senior night to wrap up the season, so that's a little odd. But what do you make? This is always one on the schedule that you circle. It's always a super tough game. If you're able to find a way to get it this early in the season and not have to worry about coming back here, I always have this game looming on the schedule. This is an early season opportunity for just a massive win.
Well, this is one of those wins that can pay dividends in so many different places. One, just your standings in the conference, right? You're going to give San Diego State a loss, and then you're all of a sudden tied with them in the conference standings, but won the head-to-head. Then you look at the NCAA on the road at San Diego State, a team that probably is going to get to the NCAA tournament, and you get a win. And then third, you get a win here. And then if there's any type of tiebreaker situation coming up, it's going to be something that they look at. Bob Beeler
does it all. Bob Beeler really does it. The Hall of Famer.
Delivering drinks. Can I get you something to drink,
The Hall
sir?
of Famer. And yes, I know this sometimes looks like something different, but it is if it was a Coors Light, I wouldn't complain.
That'd be a fun show.
I wouldn't complain if it were a Coors Light, but it is an Aquafina water here. We'll just get that.
I'm sure that wouldn't be frowned upon.
I mentioned the rebounding, but second chance points in this series have been just massive. I talked to Brian Dutcher about it yesterday, the San Diego State coach. If you look at in this series, whoever gets the most second chance points, and because it's so hard to score on these teams, when you are able to get a second chance and get an offensive rebound and score, I know I mentioned it earlier, but if you want to look at one stat over the last 4 or 5 years against these two teams, if you get more second chance points, you really are going to have a chance to win this game. So the glass is going to be even more important than it usually is tonight.
Yeah, and especially with the Bronco team that is struggling shooting the ball. There's going to be opportunities to grab that rock and get another chance. And so if the defensive rebounding is really good for San Diego State, it could be tough for the Broncos because the percentage, and I know I keep harping on the offense, but the percentages are what they are right now. They can get better, but they are what they are. So you're going to have to create more opportunities for yourself to score, and offensive rebounding is one of those.
What are your other keys to a Boise State win tonight?
I think you gotta handle the pressure from the maybe two guys that are going to be on the all defensive team. Maybe we're even looking at one of the defensive players of the year in Miles Bird, but Bird and Guath. You have high pressure on the three-point line from Bird, and then you have high pressure inside as a rim protector in Guath. So they got great defensive players all over the court.
Well, Abe, appreciate your time, man. Best of luck on the call with Bob, and hopefully about 9:30 or so when you finish up your broadcast and you come over on our post-game show. We're definitely wishing this for a Coors Light here for
right.
I should say a Sun Cruiser, our studio
there
sponsor
you
here.
Go.
But
a celebratory Sun Cruiser.
Hopefully it's a fun post-game here.
Yeah, I like it. All right, man.
Appreciate it, Abe. Thanks a lot. Abe Jackson, appreciate him for jumping on the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show as Abe gets set for his call with Bob Beeler in about 11 minutes over on 670 KBOI as the Broncos, you see, on the court going with the all-black uniforms tonight. As I said earlier, this is a very tight, kind of small media quarters here, so we're doing the best we can on the pregame show. Maybe not the perfect angle on the cameras or things like that. Might be shaking a little bit. We're doing the best we can. I can see the camera's definitely shaking there, but we're in a very tight fit. You can see, though, I'll pan this way. This is our view. We are literally right behind the Boise State bench. There's going to be the Boise State players sitting right there. And we're in like the first row of seats. There's a little area for you to stand, and then it's essentially the media. As you can tell, there's a little walkway here, and then there's your media seating right there. You can see Bob Beeler down there getting ready for his call, and this is the angle we have for tonight. So the seat for the game is actually amazing. I can't complain. It's one of the best seats we get for a road game. But in terms of the cramped quarters here for a post-game show, there's folks sitting on my left, on my right. We got the East Village Times here ready to go. We got all the different media outlets here for this game tonight. So we are a little cramped. I'm pissing them off because I'm talking loud and they got to get ready for their coverage. But we're trying to get you set here for Boise State, San Diego State. I have not seen who the referees are yet. I did send Bob Beeler a text. We'll see if he gets back to me. Bob has the refs. I forgot to look at the list. I don't know who all of the refs are yet. So I will get back to you on that. I believe we're hoping to get We're going to have Dan Dickau for sure, and maybe Rich Waltz as well as we get you set for this one. You see Mike Burns right there waving to some folks in the crowd. Boise State, again, warming up at the far end of the court, so sorry again that the angle is not, perfect here by any means. But Boise State is in the all-black uniforms at the far end of the court. We'd like to get your score predictions. We'd like to know where you're watching the game from in the ICCU YouTube chat. Let us know how you're feeling about this game. Who is your Matt Bauscher player of the game prediction? Who is your Element Fencing defensive player of the game projection for this one here, as Boise State going to need some strong defense in this one to have a chance against San Diego State. The Aztecs at this end of the floor warming up in white, but we got more special guests to come. We want to hear your shout-outs. Having fun here, getting you set for Boise State basketball on the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. Lithia Ford of Boise, they got some great deals going on right now. Our new title sponsor here at BNN. 2025's got to go, folks. So whether it's an F-150, an Escape, an Explorer, a Mach-E, Lightning Transit Van, 0% APR for 60 months and 0 down for Boise State fans. If they want to go check out Lithia Ford of Boise right now, we appreciate Lithia Ford of Boise, our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News. All of our great sponsors making this show free of charge for you. Bronco Nation News, the only local independent media outlet down here in San Diego covering this game. You may read some other stories about it and hear about it, but that'll be folks that are watching the game on their couch. We are here courtside, put the expense in to be here and travel to this game, and it's courtesy of our great sponsors and our great subscribers. So please support our sponsors, and that includes Sun Cruiser. Get out and get a Sun Cruiser today at a local grocery store or gas station, and you can check them out. Can you text me the refs maybe if you got them, Abe? Appreciate it. I just asked Abe to text me the refs here. Sun Cruiser, check them out. Real iced tea, real vodka, and we appreciate Sun Cruiser for their support of Bronco Nation News. Hey, Idaho Central Credit Union, we love them as well. ICCU.com, Idaho Central Credit Union, best in the business. There's a branch pretty much on every corner. Idaho Central Credit Union, online at ICCU.com. Hey, first game with the Jacksons. Do you love the Jacksons postgame show after the game? But a 75-cent fountain drink if the Broncos can score 75 points. Pretty simple. The Broncos get 75 points. You get a 75-cent fountain drink from our friends at Jackson's, and that'll be 2 days after the game. So it is a one-day. Michael Irving's the lead official. All right. Never heard of Rob Kuhneman and David Walker. Never heard of them either. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not that I haven't heard of either of those two guys. But Michael Irving is our other official there. So Jackson's 75-cent fountain drink from our friends at Jackson's. Again, when the Broncos get 75 points, you get a 75-cent soda from our friends at Jackson's. We bring you back here courtside. We're live here at Viejas Arena. Going to check some of the comments here. Appreciate everybody for watching the game. Bob Mitchell is in Loveland, Colorado. Not sure why they wear black uniforms and playing a team that's their school colors. Boise State, traditionally on the road, kind of likes going for the black uniforms into the hostile environments. They've even worn black uniforms during a blackout before, I think, for the other team. They just kind of like doing that sometimes. So don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you. But, yeah, Boise State playing, wearing the black uniforms tonight. We got Adrian Buchanan from Indiana has Boise State 68-59. Jumping Idaho 59-52. Got the Buchanan chiming in, cheering from Indiana. Weird feeling Meadows will have a big night tonight. Well, it's Meadow, not Meadows. So hopefully Andrew Meadow has a big game tonight. But, yeah, that would certainly help. As you mentioned, you heard Abe say, I mean, in the last game, nothing against Dylan Andrews, but I think he had 10 field goal attempts and was 1 for 10. And I believe that Andrew Meadow only took four field goal attempts. That cannot happen. You cannot have Andrew Meadow taking 4 field goal attempts and Dylan Andrews getting 10. So, yeah, need to get Andrew Meadow going tonight. If he could get a couple of big threes, that'd be huge. 79-61. Wow, that would be quite the blowout if that were the case. But I think folks on this chat would take it. Carmichael as well could get big. Yeah, Sun Cruisers, they should be available most places around the country. They are only been around about a year and a half. They're really starting to pick up steam. Vodka iced teas, Tremendous stuff. I highly recommend you get them. I'm not even a huge iced tea fan, and I love Sun Cruisers. So they have the lemonade vodkas as well that have no tea in them. The strawberry lemonade is one of my favorite drinks ever. Watching from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. All right, appreciate you. At least it's not Littlewood. Yeah, I'll have to look on Twitter and see where these refs rank, but I haven't heard of them, so that's usually not necessarily a good thing. The problem with Saturday games, folks, is there's 130 games a day. Everybody's playing on a Saturday. There's 6 Mountain West games, Big Ten games, Pac-12. Like, there's just it's really hard to get a full good officiating crew. The one thing about Michael Irving is he lets you play. He doesn't call a ton of fouls, so he does not call a ton of fouls. You see San Diego State right here. They're getting into their huddle here pregame as the crowd's coming in. A lot of Boise State players now leaving the floor as well. You see the Broncos in the black warmups. Max Teams, assistant coach there, talking to Ethan Lathan. So Mark Few's son walking off here. A lot of the coaches, some players getting up some final shots, and then Boise State will be coming here off the court, and then they'll come back out for the full warm-up here in about 7 or 8 minutes. Watching from Guam. All right, appreciate you, NB, for watching from Guam on Twitter. Thank you. I like iced tea before his TV career. Funny there. Ken Dick, appreciate you. Lebanon, Tennessee has 68-61. NATO needs a lockdown on BJ Davis. Yeah, that'll be a key battle to watch tonight. Chad Bocut has 68-65 is his prediction for Boise State as well. So, yeah, we that's probably the realm we're going to be. Some of you guys wishing for 15, 20-point Boise State wins. I'd be pretty surprised if that happens here. I think this is going to be a fairly close game. You see R.J. Keene sipping the Gatorade as he walks off here. Javen Buchanan, there's the family watching there. Wave to mama. Wave to mama. Oh, there goes Javen Buchanan heading off. And this is the student section, by the way, the show, which typically 35 minutes before tip-off would be almost full. So they're going to have some students here. They'll fill in a little bit, but it's not going to be the normal student section with it being winter break. So it'll still be a better student section than in Boise. I hate to say that on a winter break because there was nobody there at the last game. So you do luck out a little bit, though. This won't be the typical show probably, but I would suspect it'll fill in, and it'll still be a nice student section here before all is said and done for tip-off here. So Vegas has it 71-68, which seems really high. Yeah, that does seem really high. I'm not sure these teams can both score enough to get near 70 points. How about this? Ryan is watching from Anchorage, Alaska. 61-59 is what he has. Appreciate you for watching in Anchorage, Alaska. Thank you for that. And let's see what else we got here. Guy has 52-47. That certainly could happen. With the women lost today to Grand Canyon, looked terrible. Okay. Yeah, I tried. To get you didn't hear me. I wasn't talking loud enough there. By the way, if you look way down to the right, there's Max Rice. Max Rice wearing the hat right there. He's on the court right now and maybe sitting courtside here. We'll see. But Max Rice certainly has some big moments in this arena. Just 2 years ago, he hit that half quarter, almost from half quarter, to help Boise State get a big win. That was huge. We're going to have Dan Dickau join us here in a minute. Bob Schuler is watching from Meridian, 65-61. We're having a severe weather situation right now in Kuna and Boise. I don't like hearing that. I assume you just mean winds or lightning. I'm not sure. I mean, I've never had a tornado or anything there in my 13 years there, but hopefully everyone is staying safe and being okay. They're back home, and hopefully it's out of here by about 3 o'clock tomorrow when Bob and Abe and everybody on this Southwest flight tomorrow makes it back to Boise. So Don is watching 62-60 from Berkeley, California. The officials, Michael Irving is the lead official, a former L.A. sheriff, or I think he's a detective maybe in the L.A. Sheriff's Department. Now a full-time college basketball referee. Or I guess they're independent contractors, but that's his main job now. But he lets them play. He doesn't typically call a lot of fouls. I'm gonna have to look up the other two refs. I've never heard of either of those guys, so hopefully we'll have to look them up and see. Dan Dickau going to join us in just a moment, but I do want to thank a couple more sponsors here before Dan Dickau joins us, and that includes Taco Bell. We appreciate Taco Bell for their support of Bronco Nation News, and we appreciate Taco Bell for their promotion. 83 points 83 points gets you a free taco at all home games. Every home game, if you have your ticket stub, you can go to a Taco Bell location the next day when they score 83 and get a free taco from our friends at Taco Bell. Get those crispy chicken strips, all the great breakfast quesadilla, all the great options there at Taco Bell. We appreciate the Nicolason family, SON Management Group, and the Treasure Valley Taco Bell locations. Visit one today. The Blue and Orange Store, we appreciate them as well, theblueandorangestore.com. Check out the Blue and Orange Store for all your Boise State gear. Perfect time. They have those new customizable jerseys. You can get player jerseys, all kinds of options at the Blue and Orange Store, whether it's Drew Fielder, Andrew Meadow, Javen Buchanan, every player, they can get you a customizable jersey printed in minutes at the Blue and Orange Store. That's at the Allen Noble Hall of Fame location. They got the Boise Town Square location as well. And, of course, you can order anywhere in the world online at the Blue and Orange Store.com. Appreciate Matt Bauscher. Bauscher Real Estate, number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. Check out Matt Bauscher online at BauscherRealEstate.com. We bought and sold our home with Matt and his team. Tremendous customer service every step of the way, and we appreciate Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. And again, we're going to have the Matt Bauscher player of the game. We're going to have the Element Fencing defensive player of the game, the defensive player of the game, or the defensive player of the game. So check out elementfencing.com, whether it's decks, cedar, wrought iron, vinyl, pergolas, decks, fences, they can do it all. Locally owned fencing company for more than 25 years. Online, Element Fencing, elementfencing.com. I mentioned Dan Dickau. He's sitting down to join us. The Gonzaga great, knows Boise State very well. We appreciate Dan Dickau. But, hey, Ridley's Family Markets, shop ridleys.com. Ridley's Family Markets, get 13 locations in the state of Idaho, surrounding states. You can check out Ridley's Family Markets online at shopridleys.com. Keep getting those score predictions in. Keep getting those shout-outs in. Let us know how you're feeling about the game tonight here on the Lithia Ford Boise pregame show. And again, Ridley's Family Markets online at shopridleys.com. All right, continuing along here on the Lithia Ford Boise pregame show, getting set for a big one here in San Diego, Viejas Arena. And Dan Dickau, nice enough to join us for a couple minutes. I know you're close with Leon, close with this program. Your first Boise State game of the year, but I know you always enjoy getting to see the Broncos in person.
Yeah, I texted Leon last night. My flight didn't get in time. He invited me to come see the team, the group.
Were you stuck with the all the issues with the low ceiling and stuff, having to circle around, or were you just
no? Yes.
Okay.
So we left Salt Lake a little later than hoping to on my connecting flight. I was going to surprise him at dinner and tell him, hey, Leon, you're picking up my tab too, not just the team.
Well,
but
we know that wouldn't happen. But.
I would have tried to talk him into it. I think I could have gotten it. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to this team. I've seen a number of games in different stretches throughout this season. I think this team has a high ceiling. I don't think they've hit their stride yet, played their best basketball, but I think they got a chance to be a really good team.
Speaking of which, we were just wondering if he was going to pick up he was asking about last night at dinner. He was going to surprise you, and he wondered if you'd pick up the tab. And I said, we know that wouldn't happen, but
next time.
It never fails. You're speaking about somebody, and
yeah,
you couldn't see him on screen there, but Leon Rice walked right by here. But what do you over? I mean, the first game you lose to a D2 team, and I'm of the belief that it was the first game of the season on the first night by 1 point, and if that's the reason in March that the committee is that, if that ends up being it, like, what are we doing here? A lot of people say, oh, it's going to be on the resume all year long, but you look at from that low to beating St. Mary's to winning at Butler. I mean, what do you make just about you mentioned the ceiling of this team, but it does seem like there's a pretty wide margin when they play well and when they don't.
Well, here's the thing. I think and hope that the selection committee will continue to try to do a better job of understanding, especially because of so much movement in college basketball, is teams that are there at the start of this season are going to have growth pains because of so much player movement, aren't going to be the same teams at the end of the season. And I think you're going to see that with Boise State. You mentioned those two games. That St. Mary's win is going to end up being a great win. That Butler win is going to end up being a lot better win than maybe it looks at this moment in time. Wichita State could become a really good win. I think when you look at the Mountain West, San Diego State, Boise State have clearly been the two teams over the last 10 years or so, but I think Utah State's very good as well.
Yeah.
Last year, Boise had some issues of winning some close road games. If they can get over the hump and win a couple of those this year, they should be in a different position than they were last Selection Sunday.
Dan Dickau, our guest here on the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. He'll be on the call with Rich Waltz coming up top of the hour here on CBS Sports Network. And what do you, I mean, Tyson Degenhart, the last 4 years, all I did was ask you questions about him, and now he's gone. It's kind of a new look team here, obviously. And I think they've had 4 or 5 different guys already lead the team in scoring. And every night it's just been kind of a different guy, and it's been fairly balanced scoring, which I know is a good thing as well. But in terms of just where the scoring is coming from, the offensive numbers aren't great for this team. The defense has been great, the rebounding's been great. But what do you make offensively, and where the points come from here?
When I watch them on film, it's a little different. There's a few similarities of what they've done in years past, but everything seemed to have gone through Tyson over the last 4 years. And then with Cardenas last year, push comes to shove, it was going through a pick and roll more times than not with those two. I think this team, Drew Felder is a very skilled. He's got the ability to pick and pop a little bit. I think he's an athletic big man. Andrew Meadow continues to improve. He's not scoring it at the clip he did a year ago, but I think his efficiency numbers are up. I think Dylan Andrews, I know he hasn't played great the last couple games, but I think he's a solid piece. I think he's an integral piece to them maximizing what they can do. He's a player that, 2 years ago at UCLA averaged double figures. Last year's numbers dipped a little bit. New change of scenery, trying to adjust to what Leon wants. He's still going to play defense, but he's going to have a little more freedom offensively. And I think, for some guys, when you've been in a controlled offensive environment, then getting to a place where you have freedom, it can take you a little bit of time to adjust. But everything that you hear when you talk to the coaching staff, that they're really high on how he's progressing. So you factor in some of those things, and I really like the freshman NATO, the point guard off the bench, Carmichael. I think he's been a little bit up and down when you just look at his numbers, but he can shoot the heck out of it. It's just a matter of making it a consistent nightly output from him.
And I mentioned the defense and the rebounding is there. I mean, you don't even have to know anything about it. I know you've wanted to do this for years, just cut off Dan Dickau. We're just going to cut him off, and we'll come back to that. I taped that interview a little earlier in the game, earlier in the show, if you couldn't tell, because I wasn't sure if we were going to be lucky enough to get Rich Waltz come on live. But, Rich, you're on the call here in 22 minutes, man. We really appreciate you coming over for a few minutes, whether it's football, basketball. I mean, I saw you in the hotel last night. Immediately you kind of rolled your eyes because you're like, all right, I'm going to get the text to come on the pregame show, and sure enough, you did. But how you doing, man?
I'm good, buddy. It's good. It's good to start. For me, this is game 3 in the Mountain West this year, and it's my first look at Boise State, my second look at San Diego State. This rivalry, and I think in basketball it certainly is a rivalry, in football as well, has been a really fun one. There have been some great players at Boise State. There have been some terrific players, certainly at San Diego State as well. And it's always a rock fight, as they say. It's a physical game. These two teams have a lot of similarity in their DNA.
Now, you were here on the call, I believe, for the 42-37 game a couple years ago. I hate to bring that up, and I apologize. But somebody was saying the Vegas line for this was like 72-69. I'm not sure either of these teams are going to get anywhere near 70 points in this game. I know San Diego State is scoring more this year. They're averaging, 82 or something? But
yes.
But I think defensively, this is going to be, like you said, a rock fight. Probably, I would guess, maybe not 42-37, but I would guess this game's somewhere like 60-58, I don't know.
And I'll tell you one of the reasons why is because these two coaching staffs have been at their respective schools for a long time. What is this, year 16 for Leon?
Yeah.
All right, and it's probably year 25 for Brian Dutcher.
26.
26 for
I
Brian Dutcher.
actually remembered that. Yeah, 6th, I think, back as head coach.
It's a good thing I came on this show.
Yes,
now
there
I'll
you
get
go.
it right.
There you go. Fact check me before you say that on CBS Sports.
We usually say that like in late February or March or in a conference tournament.
Yeah.
Where, hey, these teams know each other. They've played each other twice already. Well, multiply that by all the years. The system at San Diego State really hasn't changed a lot. The system that Leon Rice runs is really similar to when he first stepped on campus.
Yeah.
So add that into the fact that, they are similar DNA, defense, rebounding, don't turn it over type stuff. That's when you get the lower scores and the really physical play.
What do you make of Boise State? I know you've been tracking them this year, and, they had the start to the season they did. Everybody hates when I bring that up anymore, but it's a factor, and but they've had some really nice wins as well. What do you make of where the Broncos are at right now? I mean, Joe Lenardi, I know he's not the most accurate when it comes to the brackets, but in his update today, if the NCAA tournament started today, and I know you can only reference Jerry Palm, but Joe Lunardi had Boise State as the last team in. He had them in the tournament today if it started today.
That's maybe the earliest tournament of a projection I've heard so
far. He had them in the summer.
From you, on the air. So,
all right.
So here's why. You look at Ken Palm, degree of difficulty and schedule. Boise State right now sits at 51, which helps them. Because they did, look, there were some disappointing losses, but certainly there's some nice wins in there as well. And those nice wins come against good opponents.
Yeah.
I like where they're sitting right now. If they have a really solid Mountain West and get to the tournament in second place or something like that, and get some wins there, I like their chances. But we're a long ways, obviously, away from there.
What do you make of their team, though, and some of their players? I mean, for years you've been calling Tyson Degenhart and Cardenas and all these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously a new-look team, and they are struggling to score a little bit this year.
They are. Dylan Andrews, I think, is still kind of feeling his way around this offense. He played for a coach at UCLA that would essentially scream at him every time he took a shot that the coach thought was a bad shot. Leon's offense is a lot more freedom for a point guard.
Now it's a lot of fans that are yelling at him when he takes a shot, I think. But
all right. And then Drew Fielder is a different big than Degenhart.
Yeah.
And I think the offense is still kind of getting used to that. So do I think they're going to shoot better than they are right now? Yeah, I think they will eventually. I think Andrews is going to get better and better as he's, further and further along his first season in this system.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I like about Boise State is their depth.
Yeah.
They're always going to defend, but their depth is really impressive. These are two of maybe the deepest teams in the Mountain West. So I think you're going to see 9, 10, 11 guys play on both sides.
Well, give us one take on San Diego State, too. From obviously most people watching this are in Boise or Boise State fans. It's been a unique year for San Diego State, but you look at some of the individual names on your program there, and it's still pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're a little different in that they shoot really well. They're one of the better three-point shooting teams in the country. I don't ever remember saying that about a San Diego State team. Their field goal percentage is right around 50%. That's really, really good. They don't have the lockdown defenders that they've had in the past. I think for San Diego State, two things. Guath has not been healthy.
Yeah.
He had the
still wearing the knee brace out there.
Yeah, he had major knee surgery in the offseason. And Miles Bird hasn't been the Miles Bird that we've seen before. He feels like he's pressing a little bit. So I got to go do with the open, but I'll leave you with this.
Yes.
This is a good night of famous sons that are here tonight, right? So Kobe Carl, Mark Few's son, is on the staff.
Yeah.
I've been told Max Rice is here.
I saw him. He is here. He's standing right there, yeah.
And Mark Fisher is here, Steve Fisher's son. So
well, my son's here, too.
That's another
How about
famous,
that? Naismith Reigns is in the house. So
another famous son of James Naismith, the inventor of the game. Or whatever.
That's funny. So. Hey, man, thanks a lot for coming by.
All right,
appreciate
thank
you. The great Rich
Hi,
Waltz.
Boise.
Appreciate Rich for coming by. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, you got it.
Always appreciate Rich giving us a few minutes. If they're not on the air at the oh, you got your headset on here, Rich. Don't forget your. Okay, I didn't want you to stand up and walk out with it, but appreciate Rich Waltz for coming by for a few minutes. And, yeah, we didn't have a ton of time there, so sorry if you had another question for Rich. I saw a couple in the chat there. We didn't have a chance to get to all of those. I wasn't expecting Rich to come on here live, so we appreciate that. But let's finish that interview with Dan Dickau. Keep getting your score predictions in. Keep getting your shout-outs in. We'll get to those in a couple of minutes. Let's finish that pregame interview with Dan Dickau. Burns, team, and you're going to get rebounding and defense. And sure enough, they're number 2 in the country in defensive rebounding, number 20, I think, in defensive efficiency. They've been top 25 in defensive rebounding like the last 9 years. I mean, what is it when you face a Boise State team that the battle on the boards is going to be a big one? And obviously that's one that in this series, especially second chance points, offensive rebounds has been a huge factor in these games.
Well, Boise does such a good job of making you, first off, score over the top. Very rarely are they blown by on the perimeter. Very rarely on the interior, if there's a post-up opportunity, do you get beat on an angle for an easy bucket. So first, they make you score over the top. Second, as you mentioned, they rebound the ball extremely well. So, you couple those two factors together as emphasis points for Mike Burns and Leon Rice, it sets you up to be a really good defensive team. Tonight's game, because of the pressure that San Diego State puts on you, if you don't take care of the basketball, that's going to give them easier opportunities than if you're able to score and get your defense set. So I think a big thing tonight is for Boise State to take care of the basketball. Even if you have a turnover, don't have it lead to a live ball turnover where they're going down at you in transition. Travel or a pass out of bounds isn't the end of the world when you're getting pressured.
Final two quick ones. Again, Dan Dickau, appreciate your time. What do you make of San Diego State? Because they're a team that everyone says is down in all this, and you look up and they have the Troy one, which Troy's not a bad team. They're like 130th in KenPom, and that was a crazy double overtime game. But their other three losses are the number 1 team in the country, number 2, and I think number 30 at KenPom and Baylor. And I know they've been in a couple games. San Jose game was close with like 5 minutes to go, but in this building especially, I mean, to me, you look at Guath and some of the individual athletes they have on this team, I'm still expecting them to be fully right there competing for the league title when the season's over.
Yeah, I look at this, honestly, as 3 teams from my perspective before we get too deep into league. I like Utah State, I like Boise State, and I like San Diego State. Now, that's not taking anything away from some of the other teams that have put together a nice non-conference, Wyoming being the surprise.
Yeah.
But these 2 teams have been the class of the league for 10, 12 years or so. I expect that to be the same. San Diego State always has, top 20 non-conference strength of schedule. They did it again. You mentioned they played, the top 2 teams in the country. Take that Michigan game out because they're blowing everybody out, right? But, they controlled the tempo and the pace for the most part against Arizona. Arizona averages 90, and I think they only had, 66, 68 maybe. So the game was played at their pace. They just had some offensive lulls where, they couldn't stay within striking distance. You look at a team right now, Dutcher's got a lot of talent. He doesn't usually go 11 deep. Most college teams don't go 11 deep. He's trying to do it, and he's doing it because guys, when they get their chance, are playing well, and nobody's playing bad. So he's still kind of in that conundrum trying to figure out if he's going to shorten his rotation at all or not, because 11 guys are averaging more than 10 minutes a game.
Yeah, and yesterday when I came to Brian Dutcher's media availability, all the questions were about other players getting unhappy. They're not playing more and stuff, so who knows. But final thing, you mentioned obviously transition points and not letting this crowd, if you're a Boise State from your perspective, not falling behind early is probably big, not letting the crowd kind of get into it, because Boise State's had some games, and I've been here, where it gets out of hand early, and they just, I think last year lost by 20. I mean, they've had some really rough games here, but they've won a couple times in this arena too. Boise State actually 7-3 the last 4 years overall against San Diego State. So they've had some success here. Max Rice hit that big half quarter in overtime, I think, last year, almost from the logo there. But just in general, what do you see as kind of some of the keys and factors, not asking for a prediction, but just some keys for this game and what could be a determining factor in who wins this thing?
Well, Boise, as you mentioned, is one of the best in the country on the glass. San Diego State typically has been tremendous on the glass. They're not quite what they've been in years past in that category. So I think that's something to look at. Who's going to win the battle of the rebounds? I think turnovers. If Boise State can limit their turnovers, and that in turn limits transition opportunities for San Diego State, I think that's going to be a key as well.
Well, Dan, appreciate your time, man. We'll let you get ready for the call. And you and Rich Waltz, man, one of the best. Only downside when I come to these games, I can't listen to you and Rich, but I can go back and rewatch the game, which I will do. We appreciate it, man.
All right.
Continued success for you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks.
There he is. That was our pregame interview with Dan Dickau. Appreciate him for jumping on. We got about 14 minutes on the clock. Got to get ready to jump off here per the Mountain West rules. We got a couple more minutes, though. Want to thank rowpaint.com, Andy Rowe and Company, rowpaint.com, Andy Rowe and Company, 20% off your winter painting projects. Make sure you hit up rowpaint.com. Transportation Compliance Service. If you're trying to get in to a new career, a fresh start, a career change, how about the trucking industry? Transportation Compliance Service can help you out. TCS, transcomservice.com. Get into the trucking industry today. And, hey, leave us a voicemail. We'll try to get some voicemails going on the Signature Roofing voice inbox. Signature Roofing voice inbox, speakpipe.com/BNN, brought to you by Signature Roofing. Online at mysignatureroofing.com. Whether it's a re-roof or repair, an estimate, or an inspection, check out Signature Roofing online at mysignatureroofing.com. Quick check of the Signature Roofing scoreboard update. New Mexico is up 16 on Wyoming, 69-53. Colorado State up 13 at Grand Canyon, 60-47 with 4 minutes to go. Nice bounce back for Colorado State. Air Force only scores 39 points in a 67-39 loss to UNLV. Nevada on the road, a 1-point win over Fresno, 66-65. And Utah State, that was a close game with about 12 minutes to go. They come back and beat San Jose State 96-78. The final game in the Mountain West tonight is Boise State and San Diego State. The great Max Rice having a seat on the Boise State bench. There's Max Rice. You guys can see Max. I wonder if he's going to watch the game there, or does he have an actual seat? I'm not really sure, but there's Max Rice here in attendance at Viejas Arena. Got about 12 minutes on the clock. Appreciate all you guys for checking us out here. A lot of great comments, a lot of great posts. We really appreciate all you guys for checking us out tonight. We're going to get off of here and get ready for tip-off. The game will be in about 8 minutes over on the CBS Sports Network. Rich Waltz and Dan Dickau on the call. We'll be back right when the game ends with the Jackson's post-game show. Appreciate Jackson's for their support of their post-game show. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Go subscribe, BroncoNationNews.com. Enjoy the game, everybody. Again, Bronco Nation News, the only local media outlet that made the trip down here to San Diego to cover this game. So return the favor with a subscription if you can. $5 a month right now for an annual subscription to Bronco Nation News. $5 a month. Got to rebound tonight and got to hit some shots. Those are obviously the two big keys for Boise State. You go 2 for 17 from 3 in the first half, you're going to be down by 20 points at halftime. You got to weather the early storm. You got to hit some shots, and you got to rebound tonight. If Boise State wins the rebounding battle, they probably win this game. So going to be a big one. Very important game for Boise State. A pivotal game for them. It's certainly not a must-win, but you'd love to get a win here and as you move forward in conference play to have this one under your belt for the rest of the season. So big game for Boise State coming up here in about 10 minutes. Enjoy the game. About 5 minutes after the game ends, right away, we're going to fire up the Jackson's postgame show right when the game ends here courtside. Scheduled to have Leon and players join us live on the postgame show. So come on back after the game. We'll see you here at Bronco Nation News. Go subscribe. Go check out the message boards. Enjoy the game, everybody. It's going to be a fun one. Boise State, Viejas Arena trying to get their 5th win in this building. And we'll talk to you guys here on the postgame show. Enjoy it. Bronco Nation News online. BroncoNationNews.com.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.